Oakwood. And welcome Oakwood community, alumni, parents, and special guests. And thank you for helping us celebrate our Quaker testimony of stewardship. I'd like to please begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to hand over to our head of school, Cianfrani.
A little wobbly. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Oakwood Friends School. I'm Cianfrani, head of school. Just wanted to start off today by thanking Ray and Chris and Pablo. They spent the last couple days making all of this happen here. So thank you, guys. And I also wanted to thank a few folks that made it here today as well. I saw Ken and Ken Casamato and Nicole Patty from LRC Engineering did a great deal of work to make this array happen over the last months and years. So thank you both for coming out today as well. Thank you, guys. So thanks to the focused efforts and long-range vision of many individuals, some of whom you'll hear from today, we're fortunate to gather in celebration of Oakwood's solar array project. It's only fitting to share this day with our former students who are here to kick off Alumni Weekend, including Egan Gabrielson, who I just was fortunate enough to have lunch with. He was the very first boarding student I met 14 years ago here. And if I did my math right, we will be welcoming alumni today and tomorrow, representing 8 different graduation decades. I believe at the last check after lunch today, the array has generated just over 595,000 kilowatt hours of electricity since going live late last summer. There are all sorts of interesting stats around a project of this nature. 2,275 panels, 100% coverage of our campus electrical usage, an equivalent offset of about 75 homes powered for a year, something around 45,000 gallons of gas burned, or 1 million cars off the road in a year. The technologies, the policies, and the economics that make a project of this nature viable offer great promise moving forward. But what strikes me most, however, about this array is how it ties into our commitment to stewardship and sustainability within our community. As a small coeducational boarding and day school, we trace our foundings to 1796, just up the road at 9 Partners Meeting House. Having moved to campus in this location in 1920, we have called Poughkeepsie home for close to 100 years. Throughout this time, the preservation of open space and stewardship with the environment has been an important aspect of our educational Quaker mission. Surrounded by over 50 acres of green space and fresh air, one can sometimes forget the campus is home to 22 buildings, dorms, a dining hall, a gym, a theater, classrooms, and many family residences. At any given time, over 200 people from over 10 countries call Oakwood home, drawing on electricity and other resources to keep us warm, fed, connected, and illuminated. Pretty much every morning, I click on the web link to check our solar arrays production. Hourly, daily, monthly production numbers pop up. And data's pretty neat in that way. The numbers fluctuate, telling a story driven by cloud cover or rain or snow or sun. What I also see in those numbers is a commitment towards a sustainable future and towards our responsible stewardship of the campus we call home. For the better part of the last 200 years, the Coleman Farm and then Oakwood Friends School has seen this space utilized as open pasture, orchards, gardens, even a hockey rink in the 1940s. Looking forward in the decades to come, we will continue to use this space responsibly and in balance with technology and available resources. Even on a slightly overcast day, or tomorrow when it'll rain 3 inches, the future of Oakwood's looking bright. So thank you very much. And now I would like to turn it over to Fred Donite, who has a few words, a current board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. These marks were prepared to be read by our board president, who unfortunately was unable to make it to the campus because he broke down on Route 84. But we do have his remarks, and I will be faithful in reading them. So thank you, Chad, and welcome everyone. Creating this magnificent solar array required collaboration by many people and constituencies, including the Oakwood Board. I would especially like to thank Phil Richmond, who was the architect of this project, and Fred Donite. Remember, I didn't write this. Who sweated the details every step of the way. I would also acknowledge the tireless help we received from Troy Alexander, husband of board member Mary Alexander, who performed our legal review and explained the multi-section contract with Solar City in ways that the board could readily understand. Chad is too modest to acknowledge his own contributions, so I'll do it. Chad immersed himself into every aspect of this project, from scheduling the work, winning favorable interconnect terms from the local utility, securing zoning approvals from the city of Poughkeepsie, and amicably and respectfully addressing questions and concerns from our neighbors. What impressed me the most was Chad's remarkable patience when we learned that we had to delay site clearance until the bats nesting in our trees left to go hibernate in caves somewhere. The bats did leave eventually, and hopefully have found wonderful new nesting sites elsewhere on our campus this spring. Chad talked about the tangible benefits of this project, reducing Oakwood's energy costs and consistent with our Quaker-based commitment to stewardship, dramatically reducing Oakwood's carbon footprint. I would also like to talk about this project as a living demonstration of Quaker decision process. Our solar array represents a 25-year commitment with our partners at Solar City. Given the long-term implications, Oakwood's board deliberated in depth about this project over several meetings, true to the Quaker principle of avoiding haste when making a decision of great import. In the end, through careful consideration and application of Quaker meeting process, the board wholeheartedly chose to proceed. It is that kind of long-term, forward thinking that creates and sustains great institutions. Thank you all for coming, and I'd like to just acknowledge other board members who are here today. Beth Porter. Are there any others who have snuck in? Oh, yes. Jessica? That's Jessica, right? Jessica Kimmelman. Okay, well, thank you again. Thank you all for coming, and I'll turn it back to Chad.
I will be much shorter this time, I promise. I would just like to, I'm very pleased that Owen Rafter, Dutchess County Commissioner of Planning and Development, could join us today. I'd like him to welcome him to the podium. A few words.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Owen Rafter. I'm the Commissioner of Planning and Development for Dutchess County. On behalf of County Executive Molinaro, I want to welcome you back to Dutchess County. The county executive, unexpectedly had a family commitment in Rose and kept him from attending, but he asked me to say a few words on his behalf. Congratulations to the Oakwood School on their forward thinking and planning and ultimately installing the solar array. Projects like this will help us move to cleaner energy, reducing our carbon footprint, greenhouse gas emissions, and prepare us for a more sustainable future. The New York State Energy Plan calls for 50% of the power used in New York State to be generated by renewable energy by the year 2030. The increased use of solar power is critical to meeting this goal. Dutchess County has been very supportive of moving into a more energy-efficient renewable energy future through our support of a Solarize campaign. These local partnerships work with communities to come together and offer discounted rates for the purchase and installation of residential solar energy systems. The campaigns not only offer discounted options, but also an educational opportunity so the public can make intelligent decisions about their choice of solar power. We've also partnered with Energize New York to offer PACE financing. It's a commercial-owned property financing mechanism to fund energy conservation and renewable energy products. This program encourages the upgrade of our county's existing building stock, produces energy cost savings, and increases the amount of renewable energy uses, all while decreasing our dependence on fossil fuels. The county is also about to install our own solar array at the Hudson Valley Regional Airport. It's going to be used to offset electricity used at all of our Dutchess County facilities. It's a 2.5 megawatt photovoltaic solar array at the airport. It's being done in partnership with Tesla and is expected to produce over 2.9 megawatts of clean energy annually. That's the equivalent of the power needed to power more than 48 average New York homes. We're very proud of that facility and looking forward to its creation of clean energy and saving our taxpayers the cost of that. Dutchess County applauds Oakwood School and joining county government and a host of others working to advance solar power as a clean, cost-saving option for improving our environment and the resiliency of our electrical system. This is an exciting project that will benefit this school and our residents for generations. Thank you again for inviting us to participate, and we look forward to working together in the future.
Get a workout here. Before asking Joseph Lepore, Poughkeepsie Town Board, 5th Ward, coming up, I noticed that Lynn Versace was here from Sue Serino's office, and she would like to come up and add a few words.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the senator, she is unable to make it today. She's at the hospital with her mom, so she sends her apologies, and she will visit another time. So on behalf of State Senator Sue Serino and the 41st Senate District, in recognition and celebration of the grand opening of your new 2-acre solar array, with gratitude for your commitment to the greening your school, we cannot thank you enough. So here's a certificate on behalf of Senator Sue Serino. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
She really did.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, so I'd like to welcome up Joe Lepore, Poughkeepsie Town Board.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you very much. Well, what a great day today. As you can see, the sun is shining. We are producing energy, so this is a great day for Oakwood. So a great job for all the board members. Great job for all the people who were involved in this project. And I tell you, when I was on the board, let me recap. When I was on the planning board about 3 years ago, I got first glance of the project. And I wasn't sure how the project was going to look. But today, you know, being a town board councilman, and I live just about down the block there, I can walk to my house, and I saw the progress of the solar panels. And I tell you, it's wonderful. I have solar panels in my house as well. This is a great thing. I think every facility in Dutchess County and in the world should take pay attention of what Oakwood has done. You know, I know some people don't like energy and things like that, or panels, or the way they look, or the way they're going to look. But this is a good asset for every facility, educational, healthcare facilities, to have solar panels on their grounds, because I know for a fact will save energy. We are so blessed here in Dutchess County to have such a good partners. Dutchess County, Marcus Molinaro is a great partner, Central Hudson, and other groups in the area. So, and we also have a great town supervisor that makes things happen in this town. At this time, I like to call him J. John Baisley, which is here with me, and he would like to say a few words. So, thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody, and good luck in the school year.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and we were blessed in more ways than one today because we have some sunshine out here. The rest of the weekend may not be as nice, but we can hope. You know, the weatherman's been wrong before. They keep their jobs, but they've been wrong. You know, I want to thank Oakwood School and the board because everybody's come to the town board year after year, the last couple of years, wanting solar farms, and we all stand back because my question is, has anyone done one that's been a success? And they're like, this is our first one. You're going to be our first try. So I really commend the board and the group for reaching forward. I understand the contracts that you've discussed and going forward, how hard it was to make that decision. And this is a prime example of how it can be done and how it can work. And we watched this process go through. This was the first one in the town of Poughkeepsie. And were there some mistakes made? Absolutely. But we all learn from our mistakes. And going forward, this has given us an insight to where we can go and where we can be. And solar's going to be here. Solar's here to stay. And I think solar's only going to get better and more efficient. So as we go forward, this is going to be a better place. So again, I just want to thank Oakwood, the board members, and for the students, for the education they're getting out of this. And the bottom line is it could be saving the school some money too. So it may save the cost of your education going forward, which your parents will be happy, because definitely there is a savings factor here besides the green space and everywhere else. Our carbon footprint is all being saved going forward. This is definitely a plus. I thank you guys for having that insight and intuition to move one step above, beyond, and reaching out and doing this before anybody else in this area has done. So best of luck to you all, and look forward to other projects. Thanks.
Now I'd like to introduce a gentleman who we've been working very closely with for the past 3 years. And I joked I got to learn more about our different meter structures. I learned where every single meter on campus was. I learned about bats. And all the while, Ron came in of Earthkind Energy, was a real partner with Oakwood, and really helped this project come along. It certainly would not have happened without you. So thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Chad, and thank all of you. Boy, what a beautiful day. Oops. So this project, is it me? Thank you. Ooh, positive feedback. So, can people hear me? Still doing this, huh? Okay. It's the podium itself, huh? Yep. So what do? Do I put it up to my mouth or move over? Or?
Try it. I'm not
Try
sure
that?
how it's going to react.
Yeah. You tell me then. Is that better? Much better. Great. All right, here we go. That's called positive feedback. So, give you guys, this project, more than almost anyone that I've ever been involved with my whole career, has been really a testament to the power, unlimited power of people coming together with technology and the forces of nature. So we'll start with the forces of nature. That little ball in the sky has been here for billions of years. It's the largest and most powerful source of energy and gravity in our local universe. For billions of years, it's warmed our planet, created everything around us, the air, the water, gave us the energy for all living things. The biomass of billions of years is what has fueled our civilization. Those fossil fuels of billions of years of solar energy accumulated in living things is what has fueled our civilization to the current moment. But now, our exploding population and our exponential consumption of those fossil fuels are making us a force of nature, to the point where we're disrupting the fragile climate and the balance that keeps all our lives viable. This project, the Oakwood project, shows the world how we can directly tap into that energy and use the solar power to supply all our energy needs now and create a sustainable future as well. The technology. So science and technology brought us to where we are today. It got us out of the caves. It created the buildings we're in, the technology for our communications, our computers, our phones, our cars, our streets. It's science and technology that got us to where we are. But now, just as our smartphones have the incredible power of multi-million-dollar computers just a few years ago, the same thing is happening with energy. Energy is becoming more decentralized, more distributed, and solar energy more efficient, more available, and more affordable. When Oakwood was founded 220 years ago, there were no such thing as photovoltaic solar electric cells. 50 years ago, when your alumni are coming together, some of your alumni coming together now, 50 years ago, these panels cost 100 times more than they do today. When most of you students came here 3 to 5 years ago, since then, the price has come down another 50%. People and technology have brought us to the point of climate collapse. But this project shows that it's people and technology that will solve our energy and environmental crisis and create our future going forward. But this project, most of all, is really about the collective sum of what people coming together can do. It's an incredible ride through a perfect storm of energy policy, regulation, implementation, along with technology advances, cost reductions, and financial innovation. From the engineers who designed everything, to the workers who produced the panels and the inverters and the racks and the components who did the installation, to LRC engineers who laid out the site permits, to the Poughkeepsie town officials and the county officials who helped get the permits and approve them, the Central Hudson utility staff who assured the integration of a complex electric grid, so every time we flip a switch, it's a precise balance of complex our demand with the generation that we need to keep everything going. But most of all, we also owe thanks to the people who created public policies that made this project possible. And when you think policy doesn't matter, it was the federal elected officials who passed the tax credits that provided some tax fueling to make this project work. It was our state legislature and the Public Service Commission that passed net metering and set in place rules and regulations for allowed solar to get off the ground. And it was Governor Cuomo and NYSERDA that created the New York Sun Incentive Program to give cash incentives to make this possible. And reforming the energy vision now, or REV, is the next step that's going to take us into accelerating New York's energy revolution. But most of all, this project really is about the people of Oakwood. Caring for each other is part of your DNA. Anyone can see it in your hearts and in your souls. You see it in your administrators and in your board and the committee members who led this effort. You can feel it in the faculty and staff who dedicate their lives to you, but most especially in the students and your families who sent you here. With this project, not only have you built a lifetime of financial savings that's providing clean energy for all your electricity needs for the next 25 years and onward, but you created and left a stewardship for all future generations, protecting not only your home here at Oakwood, but our home planet Earth. You've shown that there's really no limits to the power of people and technology when we channel the forces of nature. And you are all really, truly a shining source of light, brilliant, bright, that proves beyond question, where there's a will, there's a way. I thank you for the opportunity to allow me to be part of this incredible project. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I wish you all just such tremendous luck going forward. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce David Sandbank, who is the director of NYSERDA's New York Sun $1 billion incentive program for solar energy. David.
Hello, can you hear me okay? All right. Ron, I don't know what's in your wallet, but I better not talk, it probably happened to me. Actually, true story, when I first got into the solar industry, one of my biggest inspirations was Ron. He used to be the president of NYSEA, which is a local nonprofit organization here in New York State, and I heard him speak, and you could hear how good of a speaker he is. And I said, wow, this is really cool stuff. I want to really stay in the solar industry. And then I followed in his footsteps and was the vice president of NYSEA not too long after that. So I've known Ron for a while, and he's very inspiring, and you've been in very good hands with him, as you can see. So my name is David Sandbank, and I am the director of New York Sun. And what that means is, no, I'm not directing the sun to say, come out now, go down now, come up now. It does that on its own, which is really cool. But what I am in charge of is taking the Governor Cuomo's $1 billion initiative and making sure that projects like these are incentivized, right? We want to lower the cost of solar for projects. But we also want to make sure that in order for the solar industry to be very self-sufficient, we want to make sure that it can move forwards without incentives. So our incentive program moves down over time. So for instance, when this project got about a little over $200,000 for its project to lower the cost, a project next year might get a little less because the price of panels are going to come down. People are going to learn how to do things cheaper. So it's a really good system, and it's a long-term vision. And when I bring up the word vision, it's hard not to really say, What we're doing in New York State is completely progressive and different than a lot of other states, and there's a lot of states looking at us. And what we're doing is Governor Cuomo's reforming the energy vision. And in simplistic terms, what that really means is making the grid more affordable, cleaner, and more resilient. And it's projects like these that are crucial in making that happen. So behind a great project are always great people. There's never a time where a project just happens without amazing people behind it. And a lot of you are in front of me right now, and it's so great to get out of my office in Albany and come here in the sun and look at all the work that goes into the projects that we're helping to incentivize. So it's always a pleasure to be here and see these projects. There's a lot going on in Hudson Valley, but also before I even get into that, what's really cool about solar and what I've really noticed is solar is like the gateway to thinking more about how you could save money on your energy costs. And I'm just so impressed that yes, solar is visible. We could see it in the field. We can have apps on our phones and see how much energy it's producing. And Chad, I'm sure, wakes up every morning doing that because that's normal. Don't worry about it. It's normal. But what I'm really impressed with here at Oakwood Friends is your commitment to the environment. I mean, that is so crucial. The money savings is what it is, but you're leading such a good example, not only for the future leaders in this audience, the students of this school, but for the state as a whole. You're pioneers, and that's so important to us, and money really well spent for our program. I'm hearing about things like a greenhouse on your campus, composting, light bulb replacement programs with Central Hudson, efficiency assessments, electric vehicles, you're starting to look into that. Like, what more? It's people like you that are on the leading edge, the forefront, that have the vision and are creating new leaders, and I really thank you for that. I think that's so impressive and so inspiring, and so I'm really happy to be here to celebrate this with you. It's not just about the solar system, it's about your vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I'd also like to, I'm very pleased that John Mastergian, Central Hudson Media Relations, is here today. So I'd like to welcome him up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us. Again, I'm John Mastergian. I'm working in our corporate communications department for Central Hudson. We're the regional electric and gas company for the Mid-Hudson Valley. And this is truly a celebration for Oakwood Friends Schools, for your students, and for our community. This solar array not only provides clean energy from the sun for the school campus, but the extra energy produced supplies the local electric grid as well. This system also offers environmental benefits, offsetting millions of pounds of greenhouse gas emissions each year, and sets an example for the students and the rest of our community. The Oakwood Friends solar system is part of a trend in the development of what's called distributed generation, or the proliferation of smaller sources of electric generation spread out across the region. These generators, most of them solar, provide local sources of renewable energy and in some cases help to support the electric grid. We're very proud of our team at Central Hudson in assisting developers and our customers with the interconnection process for installing their solar systems. Solar installations within Central Hudson's service area are among the highest in New York on a per capita basis. Today, more than 7,000 homes, businesses, municipalities, and institutions in the Mid-Hudson Valley have installed solar generating systems representing nearly 65 megawatts of installed capacity and offsetting 35,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions each year. Even more impressive are the more than 600 proposed systems, together representing an additional 193 megawatts of installed capacity. So congratulations to Oakwood Friends School for making an investment in your energy future and for creating a clean source of energy power for our communities. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. All right, so I'd just like to conclude by inviting everyone after this to head over, if you'd like, to the tent by Collins Library for some refreshments. And I believe students, you might have sports after that. But I'd like to thank you once again, everyone who spoke today, and everyone coming, alumni and students and families. This really is a special day and means a great deal. So with that, I would like to turn it back over to Mimi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, speakers, for your remarks. Makes me very happy to be a part of the Oakwood community. I also want to thank Elias Fredericks for your music. And at the, round of applause. And at the end of our moment of silence, hopefully there are bubbles being passed out right now. What we want to do is everyone blow the bubbles at once. So at my cue, Hennessy, at the end of the moment of silence, we'll blow the bubbles at once. All right, with that being said, maybe please begin with the moment of silence. Oh, end with moment of silence, sorry. You may blow the bubbles.
Someone get a bubble in there.
Excellent.
You're cheating, though.
Yeah, Mimi was right on there.
Hey, let's go to the tent.
DJ, no. Got him right now.
All right, Fred, so what do you like about this project?
Well, I like the fact that it got done.
Hey!
It took a few years to happen. I guess when we started, we were thinking in terms of a year, maybe a year and a half at the most. But it did take a lot longer than we were anticipating. And there were a lot of complexities that came up, like bats who had to leave the area first, and things that were beyond anybody's control. And of course, the other thing was the constantly changing regulations, the incentives, the deadlines, all that was changing as we were doing our planning. So it was a real faith exercise. And we're glad we had a very good guide like yourself.
So, what do you like best about this project? Like, at the end of the day, at the end of all this hard work, of all the years of putting it together, what do you like best about it?
Well, I'm an environmentalist, and this, to me, is a real feather in our cap, and it's just part of the overall environmental program of the school, which was mentioned today. The fact that we have done some other things like energy efficiencies in our use of lighting and our heating systems, and we also have a greenhouse now, and so the board and the property committee are continuing to look for ways to save money and reduce our carbon footprint even further.
Great. How did you come to be associated with Oakwood, Fred, just so we have that background?
Well, I am a Quaker from Poughkeepsie Friends meeting, and I've lived in Poughkeepsie all my life, and so I know Oakwood. I know Oakwood people. I grew up with Oakwood people who were members of our church, and so Oakwood is a natural place for me. I'm very, very dedicated to Quaker education, and this was an easy way for me to further that, nurture that value.
You're the best, friend. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, man.
Thank you.
My name is Phil Richmond,
Uh-huh.
and I was on the board at the time that this project was conceived. And as a board member, you use the word array. You're arrayed with a number of different potential inspirations, and this was one. But it came out of the ether when I made a trip to Sandy Springs Friends School down in Maryland, and they had just put up an array, and they also had a request for proposal that made it. Both of these things brought it down from the sky for me, and that's when I came back to Peter Bailey, the head of school, and the board, and said, "This is doable. Let's not be intimidated by this anymore. We can make this real. We can make this happen." And Peter said, "Funny you should say that. We've got a guy named Ron who knows a little bit about this. Go meet with him." Of course, we had dinner and beat around some of the numbers, and it just progressed since then. I think it turned out to be very well conceived, and I'm very grateful to you for shepherding this through, and to Fred Donite, who it wouldn't have happened without it. There are a lot of people that it wouldn't have happened with, but I was more at the inspiration side and in the initial number crunching side. So.
What do you like best about this project?
Oh, well, other people have spoken to the fact that it fits into the environment. I like the fact that it fits into the Quaker environment. We are not the only one who's doing this. We were actually inspired to do this by a sister school. Didn't mean we hadn't considered it, it's just that, as I said, it made it real. And then I think if you look around schools elsewhere, you would find that this is happening as well. So you build little things out of other even smaller things. And I liked that. I liked that it fit into our social community. We worked very hard with neighbors, the abutting neighbors. And, there's a lot of fear about, change is difficult. Change is always difficult, always will be. And it's a change for them and their property owners. They have a vested interest. So working hard and diligently with them to get them to come to grips with the fact that don't be threatened by this. And by the way, as you heard a couple of people say, they're already putting things on their own houses now. So it works great. So I guess, there are other things, but they've already been talking about it. So.
Well, it's okay. Reiterate just one last thing. What else? To you, if you sum it up.
Well, the environmental issues are huge. The cost issues were huge too, because as an institution, there are very few ways that a board member has that you can lower the costs. And you either increase the tuitions, increase the revenues, or you cut down the costs. And to find something like this that we were able to put together largely through you and through Solar City, I think it is. We were able to do this and make this happen for Oakwood in ways that has very tangible cost savings for us that we can then leverage into other aspects of the program that we offer here. It could be hiring two more teachers. I don't know. I'm not on the board anymore, but I don't know how they're planning on leveraging this up, but I'm sure it will be.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to say?
Happy birthday, Ron.
My name is Sophie Poots. I'm a senior here at Oakwood.
Uh-huh. And you're graduating this year, huh, Sophie?
I am graduating this year.
That's great. And so how long have you been at Oakwood for?
This is my 4th year. I've been here since freshman year.
Oh, so you saw this whole thing come together?
I did. I've been here. Yes, I've seen the whole thing come together.
So what did you think when you first saw it?
The first that I heard about it, I think I was in a leadership class my sophomore year, and it was mentioned because a previous group of students in that same class years before me had put together a portfolio of energy statistics about Oakwood and about the amount of energy that Oakwood uses, and some ideas for what we could do better. And their hope was that we would create a better gardening and composting system, and that information that they compiled, I think, ended up going to the board when they compiled it, and then not a lot came of it at that moment. But they knew that they wanted to do something with that, and so I heard about the solar array because I heard that information, that portfolio that they had compiled, was part of the reason that Oakwood had thought about doing this.
Right. So what did you think about it when you heard about it?
I was really excited. I
Yeah.
was excited and I was super impressed.
Really? How
Yeah.
come?
I think, when it comes to climate change, you could say anything you want, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to what you do. And at a school where we talk a lot about, stewardship, and we have these greater values about being a better person and the community, I think the fact that we have the solar array really speaks to who we are and what we stand for.
So what do you like best about the whole thing?
I like that it's better for the environment. I think that's the most important piece of it.
Uh-huh. If you were to tell somebody 20 years from now any one thing, 20 years from now, after you've gone on and you now have children of your own, and what do you think you would want them to know?
I think that I would want them to know that in some ways we are a pioneer of this as a school, and as a school in Poughkeepsie and in New York State, and that there's a really amazing group of people who made this happen, and that I'm really proud to have watched it happen and been here.
My name is Amina Terry.
Uh-huh. And how do you come to be at Oakwood?
Well, I've been involved with the Oakwood community for about 12 years now because my older sister attended Oakwood. I started 7 years ago as a 6th grader, and right now I'm a senior. I'm a student clerk for 2016 to 2017, and yeah.
Great. And so you saw this whole thing coming too, huh?
Yeah.
When did you first hear about it?
Like Sophie in sophomore year, when there was a whole bunch of student initiative to gain stewardship in our community, and Chad introduced this idea of having a 1 acre solar array here. That's when I started hearing about it more and more.
Great. And what did you think about it?
I loved it. I'm all about climate and sustainability, and something I learned at Oakwood was sustainability. So I was really happy to see that we're actually following through with our beliefs and putting it into action.
Great, wonderful. And how do you like it now? I mean, what do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you like the looks of it?
I'm so happy it came together so beautiful. I was actually really scared because I did cross country for a year, and there used to be a whole bunch of trees here. And it was really nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, they're cutting down the trees, but it's complete. I think it's as beautiful as the trees, just to show that Oakwood's being sustainable and putting these solar arrays up.
Uh-huh. And if you were to think ahead, 20 years from now, someone's looking at this video, what would you want them to know?
I'd like them to know that this is where I started. I think these small initiatives in Hudson Valley where people are coming together and doing something about climate change really is where it spreads. And I know that there's happening all over the world where people are taking action, but I think this is where a lot of change is happening, and this is where it will spread from. I know myself personally, I co-founded a climate action group in Wappingers Falls, and which was inspired by what I learned from Oakwood community. And just the fact that those small grassroots organizations are popping up now, I know it's going to spread. So I hope in 10 years or whatever years you'll know that this is where it's headed.
My name is Bill Doolittle. I'm the ecological perspectives teacher and also the advanced placement environmental science teacher.
So when did you first hear about this, Bill?
A couple years ago. And of course, I was very excited because this was a direct application of a number of the topics that I cover in those 2 courses. And we hear the saying, think globally, act locally. So this was a step in starting to make a difference. And I know of 3 other schools that are installing solar arrays. So bit by bit, this can start to make a change from 90% of the United States energy being from non-renewable sources. And it's a slow change, but over, say, 25 years, that's multiplied.
Right. So you plan to incorporate this, the project into your teaching?
Yes, we'll be tracking the usage and comparing perhaps weather and season and try to get a picture through the course of the year.
And what do you like best about it, Bill?
Well, it's a step towards abating climate change, and it also shows what can be done. Sometimes these ideas seem maybe a little too far to reach, but here's one step, and I think it will inspire other organizations or individuals to make similar steps in being environmentally conscious.
are you and what do you do?
I am Chad Cianfrani. I'm the head of school at Oakwood Friends School.
And when did you first have this concept, Chad?
Well, it would be going on over 3 years ago now when you brought this harebrained scheme to Oakwood Friends School and said that we might be able to do a lot of work and research and bring solar generation to the campus, offset 100% of our energy usage, and not pay for it. And I thought you were crazy, but
You did. Yeah. Oh, that's good to know. You really did, huh? That's really great. Yeah. But you bore me out anyway, huh?
Yeah, but I heard you out, and after I think you and I probably dove in pretty intensively for at least 3 or 4 months, looking at past generation, our electrical usage, looking at site surveys on campus, and then it quickly became known that this in theory could actually work, and that there may be some interested parties, and it had been done at Sandy Spring Friends School down south of us, outside of DC, and I think that's really when it started to be discussed at the board level.
And what do you like best about it, John?
Well, the hum of the inverters now is nice when with the sun out. No, I mean, someone joked today about me checking the website each morning, but I actually do. I think that it's just an amazing project to know that on our campus, which is not terribly big and in the middle of a town of Poughkeepsie, that you can have an array that truly offsets 100% of your electrical usage is a really phenomenal thing. I think I mentioned earlier, a lot of us live on campus here. It really is like a little community, and to be able to completely eliminate that aspect of our footprint is a really amazing thing.
So in 20 years or so from now, when people look back and they're like, okay, all right, you did this, what do you want them to know?
That is a good question. When the entire production could be maintained in about three panel size, would be my guess in 20 years. No, I think that it comes down to having a community and a board and a group, people like you that are willing to make some of the sacrifices in doing what is our responsibility as a community. If we're consuming and there's ways that we can offset that, we can use clean energy. As you know, there's some concerns when you have to cut down some trees to do that, or there might be a little glare, or maybe it doesn't look the way it did when it was open field space. But the massive benefits of having an array of this nature is really worth it. And if it's something we can do in our small part, it just makes a ton of sense.
So what did you see that was the biggest challenge, this whole process?
Other than the bats?
Other than the bats.
No, I think that, and you alluded to it when you talked today about, I think it's both the most fascinating but also the most difficult, was the amount of cooperation a project of this nature takes, from a policy level to the zoning, to the Solar City site team, to the union workers, to the sourcing of, are they German cells, are they the Chinese solar cells, or what is price competitive? All aspects of the project. There was 20 or 30 different disciplines that came together, and I think that it would be difficult to add up, but there was probably 1,000 people that had some stake in this at some level, and to see the difficulties of getting all of those ducks in a row and organizing. It certainly wasn't my job, thank God, but to do all of that, to see a project like this come together, it's a lot more than just getting a permit and pressing a button and having an array show up. So it was an amazing process.
Anything else you want to say?
I don't have any
nothing
words
biting at you? Nothing that you've been wanting to put out there?
The haiku I had been developing is not good enough.
All right, so I got a question for you. So sure. How did you like working with Earth Kind Energy and me?
As I said, I very much enjoyed working with Earth Kind Energy.
And what was good? What could have been better?
Yeah.
Good. I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah. What could have been better? Yeah. Well, what was good was, I think that the partnership was amazing. The fact that you virtually any time of day or night, when I emailed or called, we would talk through an issue. You would give me direction on areas to research. I'd come back with more material. Clearly, you've known this industry. You've worked in it for a long time. This is your passion. This is your life, and the care that you have in this. It's not a job that you're doing. It really shows, and that part made it easy for me to keep pushing forward and getting more of the to-do list items. In some respects, that part was easy. It was just maintaining that vision, and you had a really strong vision of where this project needed to go to get from A to B to C, all the way to Z. And it was a long process that would have been exceptionally difficult to do without Ron and Earth Kind. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you for that. It really has been such a pleasure, man. I'll tell you.
So, and now on
on to bigger and better things.
Geothermal and flying cars.
There we go, man.
That's good stuff.
Got it.